Hi, yeah, welcome back to Green Hill Gaming, where I share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. In this live stream, I'll be giving my thoughts on Resident Evil Dead Island, the latest CGI Resident Evil movie. So sit back, relax, but as always, and more importantly, enjoy the live stream. So I literally just finished watching it. Thought I'd do a live stream sharing my thoughts on it. I was very surprised. Also, I think there's a bird stuck in my chimney, and I really hope that isn't the case, because when a bird comes down your chimney, it leaves a serious, serious mess. So fingers crossed there isn't a bird stuck in my chimney. But back to Resident Evil Dead Island, the latest CGI Resident Evil movie. I was very surprised, and I'll start off by saying I was pleasantly surprised. Now, before we go any further, okay, I want to acknowledge that Resident Evil is no longer just three PS1 games. We're not back in the 90s here, okay? Resident Evil is huge right now. No matter how I feel about the Resident Evil brand, and you may know well by now, I feel very strongly about the Resident Evil brand. But no matter how I feel about Resident Evil as a brand, it is massive. So it's not just a handful of games anymore. There's numerous games in the series now, and outside of games, there's movies, there's Netflix shows, live action Netflix shows, CGI Netflix shows. Outside of Netflix, there is the independent Sony Resident Evil CGI movies. There's Paul Anderson's live action Resident Evil movies. And then there's Welcome to Raccoon City. But, but look, wanted to acknowledge that. Okay? So the way I view Resident Evil movies, whether they're the live action movies, um, and how I view um, adaptations of Resident Evil is I separate them from the games. Okay? I separate them from the games. So no matter how I feel about Resident Evil the games, like modern compared to original, like we won't talk about that in this live stream. Okay? Because I separate, as I said, I separate the adaptations, okay, the movie adaptations of Resident Evil from the actual games. Okay, back to Dead Island. As I said earlier, very pleasantly surprised. I expected Dead Island to be absolute crap. I did. I did. I've watched all of the CGI movies. I've even watched Infinite Darkness on Netflix. And the one thing that just always gets me about them is the OTT, the over the top action. It's just too much. Like, it's actually too much. Like, I know Paul Anderson's Resident Evil live action movies have action in them, but I just think the action in the CGI movies are just there's too much. They're too much. It's like Resident Evil meets the Matrix. I'm telling you, it's just too cringy at times. Um, so that's always kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, right? With the CGI Resident Evil movies, right? So I kind of went into Dead Island with that bad taste in my mouth. Another thing as well, Another thing as well that left a bad taste in my mouth with the Resident Evil CGI movies is they never quite seemed to be connected to the games, like actually connected to the games, like connecting to lore of the games and referencing the characters' backgrounds from the games. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They were never really connected directly to the games. That always put me off. That always put me off. Let's switch to Jill Valentine. That left a bad taste in my mouth as well. Okay? Other than that, I sat through and watched all the CGI Resident Evil movies, including the animated CGI series. Sorry, they're all animated. Sorry, the Netflix CGI series, Infinite Darkness. I even sat through that as well. And I kind of enjoyed them for what they were, but my overall impressions were like, meh. You know what I mean? Meh. So I kind of went into Dead Island expecting to feel meh. But I've come away feeling, damn, that was good. I actually enjoyed that. Not just for what it was, but for a Resident Evil adaptation. Okay. I'm not going to do a review. I'm not going to do a teardown. I'm not going to tell you every single thing that happens in the movie from start to finish. I will tell you what I loved about the movie, what I didn't like about the movie, and there was something else that I forgot. It'll come back to me. Little things here or there will come back to me. So I'll focus on those main things and then just things here and there. Okay? So I'll start off with what I loved about Dead Island. Rebecca Chambers. Can we get a round of applause for the former Stars rookie, Rebecca Chambers? We can. That sounded really wrong. But that was a round of applause for Rebecca Chambers. Because Rebecca Chambers, let's look at Rebecca Chambers. She was the medic. She may have been a rookie, but she was the medic who healed your wounds. Want me to heal your wounds? Who healed Chris? Chris comes back after running around the corridors in the mansion, having every square inch of his flesh ripped to shreds by zombies. Who was the one who healed his wounds? I put to you, ladies and gentlemen, it was Rebecca Chambers. That's who. But seriously, Rebecca Chambers was there, saving, healing, looking after Chris Redfield in the mansion incident. But she's always been sidelined, hasn't she? You know, Resident Evil 2, Claire Redfield introduced into the series. Leon Kennedy introduced into the series. Resident Evil 3, Jill Valentine gets to shine again. Code Veronica, Claire Redfield comes back. Chris comes back. It's only in the prequel that we get to see Rebecca Chambers again. And look at what she went through. This rookie Stars member. Everyone goes on about Leon Kennedy being a rookie cop. God love him. But hardly anyone ever spoke about Rebecca Chambers being a rookie Stars member and what she went through. What she went through on that train. And the Umbrella training facility. The leeches and Dr. James Marcus and being attacked by a fucking zombie ape. Or whatever the fuck, monkey, whatever it was. It wasn't an ape, it was a monkey. So she showed bravery and strength well before these far left woke liberals started moaning and complaining that there's no female representation in video games. What the fuck are you looking at right there? As far back as PS1, Jill Valentine, female, Come on. Anyway, enough of that. Back to Rebecca Chambers. But yes, she was a strong female lead in Resident Evil Zero, right? But we haven't seen her in a mainline Resident Evil game since the prequel. But we finally got to see her make a comeback in no shit. What was it? No, it wasn't Infinite. Was it Infinite Darkness? Oh, I don't know. I think it was Vendetta. It was one of the CGI adaptations anyway. But to get back to the subject matter, the subject at hand, Death Island. Not only is Rebecca Chambers part of this movie, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. She is the cornerstone, the backbone of this movie. Why? I mean, I can just hear all the Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield simps crying. What do you mean? I'll tell you what I mean. Because if it wasn't for Rebecca Chambers, your beloved Leon S. Kennedy, your beloved Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, they would all be dead. Because I'm not going to spoil the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but she, well, this is going to spoil. Oh, I don't know how else to say it. I'm sorry, spoilers alert. I'll give it 10 seconds to leave the room. Okay? You have 10 seconds to leave the room if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got your 10-second warning. Spoilers incoming. Every character, except for Jill Valentine, gets infected in this movie. And it is Rebecca Chambers, because of her expertise in virology, her expertise in viruses and vaccines. She actually created a vaccine for this new strain of T virus that features in Death Island. It's a completely different strain of T virus in the fact that it's not spread through like saliva and it's not airborne. So you don't get infected by being bitten. It's actually by your drones. They're a bit like mosquitoes, but they're drones, they're artificial drones. And that is how people get infected. So the main villain of the island, which I'll get to in a moment, he's not everyone's cup of tea. Sabertag. He's not everyone's cup of tea, but we get to him in a second. I hope I can squeeze all this into the short live stream. The villain Dylan, that rhymes. The villain Dylan. He infects. I'll get to him actually. I will definitely get to him in a second. Anyway, he infects Leon S. Kennedy, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, and not Rebecca Chambers. She's the person. There's so many characters from. This is one thing as well to point out about Death Island is the fact that it brings together pretty much every mainline character in the Resident Evil series, puts them all together. So they all get infected. Rebecca Chambers finds out about this. She creates the antivirus, the vaccine. She brings this vaccine to the characters, to the group, the Resident Evil Avengers, right? And she survives that trek to get there, because I'm not going to go into every single part that happened in the movie, but she experiences a bit of difficulty getting there. But she eventually gets there, and she gives the vaccine Okay? She gives the vaccine to the Resident Evil Avengers and saves their lives. Without, first of all, without the vaccine, they would have died. They would have died. Simple. Game over. No more sexy Leon S. Kennedy. No more sugar daddy Chris Redfield. Okay? No more hot tank top Jill Valentine. No more. They would have all been dead. No Claire, I forgot Claire Redfield. No obsessing over Claire Redfield's bloodline. Redfield bloodline. None of that crap. They would have all been dead without the vaccine. Who created the vaccine? Rebecca Chambers. That's who. Who gave the vaccine to them? Rebecca Chambers. Who saved their lives? Rebecca Chambers. And I fucking love that. And that's not where it ends. That's not where it ends. All the Resident Evil veterans, Jill, Chris, Claire, Leon, they're all there with their rocket launchers, their plasma rifles, and every fucking weapon known to God. Right? They're all there, trigger happy, firing away at Dylan's final form. This mutated mess. It wouldn't be a Resident Evil game, though, the mutated mess of somebody that was once a former human. And they give it everything. They give it everything, but they fail. They fail. Dylan has one up on them. And who comes to the rescue? Is it Ethan Winters? Fuck no. Is it Mia Winters? Fuck no. Is it Rose Winters? Fuck no. No. Is it is it anyone else that you can? Is it Billy Cohen? No. But we'd be good if it was, though. Who saves their lives yet again? Rebecca Chambers. Because she hacks into the system that's controlling these biodrones and gets them to attack Dylan, mess up the genetic code, and basically wipes out Dylan. And again, saves the day. And that's not I'm just thinking to myself. I'm just thinking to myself there, no, actually. I'm just thinking to myself, right? I know, like, there's no I in team, but, like, Rebecca Chambers didn't even get acknowledged for what she did. I'm just thinking of that there now. But so what I loved about Dead Island is the fact that Rebecca Chambers is a saviour of that movie. Loved it. Good on you, Rebecca. Good on you. Now, to completely flip-flop, moving on to what I didn't like about the movie. You've probably guessed it. The OTT action, once again, I wouldn't say it's what let the movie down, because overall, I really enjoyed it. But it did still kind of leave that bad taste in my mouth. The over the top action. It's unnecessary. I know it's a CGI movie. I get that. I get that when you're creating a CGI movie, you're creating a different type of movie. I understand that. Oh, fuck me, I understand that. But is there really a need for that level of action? Seriously. I mean, 5 minutes. What is it about Leon Kennedy and 5 minutes in the Resident Evil games and he's doing fucking crazy shit? And again, it involves him being in a fucking road accident, a fucking vehicle accident. Jesus Christ, that guy needs to go back and fucking do his driver's license. This guy should not be on the road like Leon Kennedy. Less than 5 minutes into the movie, he's driving a motorbike. He gets knocked off the bike. He fucking tumbles across a fucking concrete, like, road. Right? It's hard concrete road. Right? Designed to sustain the pressure of fucking vehicles. Right? Not fucking human flesh. And he just rolls across the fucking floor like a fucking toddler fell off a fucking couch. That's fucking less than fucking foot high. Whatever. Like, there's nothing to it, like, you know what I mean? Not a bone in his body broke. Nothing to it. Gets off and wipes it off. I'm like, come on. Seriously. So I think that's all I'm to say really about the over-the-top action, really. I don't really need to go too much into that, really. That is what let the movie down. Mr. Middleton, I have just seen Resident Evil, Dead Island, and I have come away um, pleasantly surprised by it. I actually enjoyed it. I actually thought it was great. What I love about the movie, Chad, in case you didn't hear, in case you joined just now, Rebecca Chambers is the hero of the movie. She literally saves their lives. She creates the vaccine, she gives them the vaccine, saves their lives, and she literally helps to defeat the final boss. Rebecca Chambers is the star of that movie. I love it. What I hate about it, as I just said there, the over the top action is unnecessary. Well, I may have watched it on a certain website by the name of Do Re Mi In Do Tre 123 Movies. May have. I may have. Chad, you're very welcome to the live stream. I literally have like 10 minutes left in the live stream, so I must wrap it up. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you enjoy what's left of this discussion. So that's what I loved about the movie. That's what I hated about, well, I don't use the word hate, but what I disliked about the movie. So yeah, just to quickly recap, pleasantly surprised by Dead Island. I love the fact that Rebecca Chambers is front and center in this movie. She is the hero. She is the woman, the strong female lead. All you far left wing, liberal snowflakes, yeah, crying out for strong female representation. Well, Rebecca Chambers is the woman who created the vaccine that saved all their lives, and she helped wipe out the final boss. Loved that. Didn't like the fact that there was this over the top action. Okay, now let's move on to the villain, Dylan. I lost the neck because it rhymes. Is the island plot similar to Revelations 2? Not really. More of a cosmetic similarity, really. Good point. I'll get to the lore in a second. I need to fit this in. So this is not so much like, I wanted to focus on what I loved and hated about the movie. Now everything I'm going to say for the next 10 minutes is just going to be like bits and pieces that I take away from the movie, okay? Dylan the villain. I fucking love saying that. Dylan the villain. It just rhymes. It only rolls off your tongue like. So Dylan the villain. Oh my days. Oh my days. Oh my days. Some people think he's extremely cringe, and to be quite honest about it, he is cringe. But there's more to his character than just the fact that he's cringe. And that's what I want to focus on. Dylan, see, I love this. Okay. The opening moments of that movie is the UBCS, Umbrella's paramilitary unit that were sent in to Raccoon City during the events of Resident Evil 3 and 2. To their main mission was to rescue Umbrella personnel and high-ranking government officials. Well, they arrive in Raccoon City. They're getting their orders. They don't even know what they're doing in Raccoon City. All they're told is stand guard at the bridge. So they come out of their trucks, they're standing guard at the bridge, and they witness the Raccoon City incident. All these civilians trying to escape Raccoon City, but they're not left. Their orders are to only rescue Umbrella personnel and high-ranking government officials, not civilians. And if civilians try to break beyond the barricades, they're ordered to shoot and kill. Eventually, the Raccoon City incident happens. A lot of their comrades get infected and they're ordered to shoot and kill. First, they're ordered to quarantine them, but once they got more information from the higher ups of what this virus is, what's causing this outbreak, they're ordered to shoot and kill. The character Dylan is very conflicted about this. He's like, no, you can't do this. You can't kill our friends. You can't kill our comrades. But JJ, his colleague, is like, we have to do this. We have to do this. Dylan witnesses JJ just shooting what would have been his friends and colleagues just a moment ago. And that traumatized him growing up. Well, not growing up. He wasn't a child. Years later, it traumatized him going through that experience. He had to kill, like, his friend, basically. He had to kill his friend. That changed him, right? So in true villain fashion, anyway, that's his motivation. So what his goal basically is that, like, he feels that there is no justice in the world. There's no good or evil. He's just basically gone mad as a result of what he experienced, and he just basically wants to just wipe out the world. Um, and what he says to the characters as well. Like, you think you're so good, Chris, protecting civilians, but in reality, all you're doing is protecting the big company that you work for and all this. So there's lots of things that he says that I actually kind of agree with about the world anyway. But I thought he was a good villain. And I thought it was great that they actually tied into the lore from the classic Resident Evil games, the original Resident Evil games, in particular 3, with Dylan being a former member of the UBCS. I thought that was brilliant. I thought that his motivation made sense to some degree, really, really good. They also make reference to what Jill Valentine went through, because we see Jill Valentine, like, for the first time, like, in the modern timeline since Revelations. So it's great to see that. Actually, no, since 5, because Revelations took place before 5. So this is the first time we see Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine after what happened to her, when she was basically a slave of Albert Wesker. So there's a nice bit of kind of dialogue there. They also Chris makes reference to Pierce from 6 as well. So the movie very effectively ties in with the game's lore. What else can I say, really? The character models are kind of a bit questionable, to be honest with you. And unlike Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil Dead Island is an actual movie. It is designed to be viewed. There are people, let me just explain why I mentioned Spider-Man 2. There are certain people out there that are making a big deal about faces in Spider-Man 2. To the point where they're probably second thinking whether they should buy the game or not because of a fucking face. It's a video game. It's designed to be played, not viewed. It's not a movie. Video games are designed to be played. Movies are designed to be viewed. Okay? So when I'm sitting down there viewing some of these character models in the island, I'm like, the fuck? Bit questionable. Whew, holy shit. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up the live stream right now. I really am coming away from this movie liking it a lot more than I thought it would be. Which is very surprising. I wasn't expecting that now at all. It would have been a great game. It would have made a great game. I'm just thinking, it would have made a fantastic game. Oh my god, I don't have much time here now. Okay, let me just kind of share what I would think would make a great game. Okay, you play as Rebecca Chambers. For the first time since Resident Evil 0, the main character of a Resident Evil game, Rebecca Chambers. Okay? And you are basically playing it from her perspective. So Chris isn't playable, Leon isn't playable, Jill isn't playable, Claire isn't playable, but they're all in the game. And you have to save them. So you're basically making your way to Alcatraz, which is the setting of the movie, with the virus. And maybe if you drop the virus at some stage of the game, it's game over or something, I don't know. But you need to bring the vaccine to Alcatraz and, even like try to survive. And maybe like certain characters, right? Like Jill is in one part of Alcatraz and there's like a big boss kind of type, enemy like a licker or a hunter, or a tyrant or whatever, like, blocking access to that character. You defeat it, save Claire, move on to Jill. You know what I mean? Like a level type system, a stage type system, right? And then once you save all the characters, then Dylan kind of shows up. Well, hello, Raccoon City survivors. You thought it was over, blah, blah, blah. Final boss fucking dialogue, right? So yeah, so the other characters try to defeat him, like in the movie, but it's basically down to you to kind of like go into this kind of hacking type kind of system where you instead of like because you were traditionally fighting monsters up until that point, but then when you face the final boss, you're like hacking a system to get the bio drones to wipe out the final boss. Boom! There it is. Make it happen, Capcom. Anyway, Dot Island, great movie, loved it. Didn't think I would. Solid 8 out of 10. I'd highly recommend it. I must go. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time on Green Hill Gaming.